From going a little overboard with his social media presence to not showing up at any WWE events, here's why people hate Dwayne Johnson. Let's kick this off with his obnoxious social media presence. No matter how famous someone becomes, it's just not appealing to see a flood of selfies from them. It gives off the impression that they're seeking attention above all else. Whether he's intentionally playing up an egotistical persona or genuinely embracing the attitude he's had for years, people hope that he can eventually find self-acceptance like any ordinary person would. As I mentioned earlier about social media, it's okay to use a platform in a way that suits you. But people can't help but notice that he has a lot of influence and could use it to make a positive impact on the world. Over time, things may have gotten better, but people are honestly tired of seeing that loud, macho persona he constantly projects. It's about time he lets go of it. The worst part is that overdoing it all is affecting his career too. The guy is everywhere, and people don't think he's earned it with his acting skills or standout performances. He's essentially become his own movie-making machine, bankrolling his projects and always playing the same invincible character who never loses. It's like he's saturating the industry with his presence, and people are fed up with seeing his mug everywhere I turn. It's just too much. Though there are some folks who believe that The Rock could actually handle more serious roles. And I'm not talking about the typical, I'm gonna beat you up type of serious. I mean tackling heavier subject matters that require some real acting chops. Plus, with his wealth and influence, he could definitely produce some better quality stuff if he put his mind to it. So why stick to the same old formula over and over again? That said, things have gotten so bad that he's even written a book about himself while talking in the third person. Who does that? That book of his might be top-notch, no doubt about it. But let's be real, it gives off this vibe that he's a little too in love with himself. You know what I mean? Like, look at me, I'm so awesome kind of thing. And it's not just the general public who has issues with his work. Throughout the years, Bautista hasn't held back when it comes to expressing how he hates The Rock. He's never been afraid to speak his mind and has openly criticized their careers, so it doesn't really come off as a surprise. In a 2019 interview, he made it clear that he didn't want to be compared to The Rock or John Cena. He said that they're wrestlers who transitioned into movie stardom, whereas he considers himself something different, an actor who was once a wrestler. In 2022, after his role as Duke Cody in Rian Johnson's film Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, Bautista expanded on his dislike for career moves solely driven by financial gain, much like what he perceived in The Rock's choices. He expressed his desire to be taken seriously as an actor, saying, "I never wanted to be the next Rock," in an interview with GQ. Ouch. And he isn't the only one from the industry who has had a beef with The Rock. Vin Diesel also has a history with him. During the filming of Fast and Furious 8 in 2016, Johnson caused quite a stir when he took to Instagram to criticize some of his male co-stars. While the post has since been deleted, most people got a glimpse at it, and he said that some of his co-stars conduct themselves as stand-up men and true professionals, while others don't. He added that the ones that don't are too chicken to do anything about it anyway. Candy asses. It was widely speculated that Johnson's target in this criticism was Vin Diesel, an idea that Johnson practically confirmed by excluding Diesel from his list of gratitude on Instagram, despite thanking almost everyone else from the Fast and Furious franchise. While Johnson later described the feud as a result of different philosophies, Diesel, who usually tried to avoid discussing their beef, mentioned how he paved the way for Johnson, referring to himself as the first multicultural megastar in Hollywood. And apparently, Vin Diesel isn't the only one who's had a rocky journey. Pun intended. Tyrese Gibson also has issues with him. When Fast and Furious 9 got pushed back for a whole year, things started getting spicy. That's when Johnson scored his own badass spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw. But hold up! Tyrese wasn't feeling it and took to Instagram to roast Johnson, saying he was making the whole franchise about himself and even compared it to the flop Baywatch. Ouch! Shots fired. And even though Hobbs and Shaw dominated the box office, Gibson couldn't resist throwing another jab at Johnson. He called out the movie's opening weekend numbers, claiming they were a bit lackluster compared to the OG Fast and Furious flicks. But you know The Rock, he ain't one to back down. He fired back with a tweet that said, "Hey, remember the best way to shut up a clown is to show him success and flash him a winning smile." Gibson eventually admitted he regretted airing out his grievances, but no public apology has surfaced yet. Looks like this feud ain't over, y'all. Plus, He isn't just despised in Hollywood, but in WWE as well. After he burst onto the wrestling scene as the good guy, it didn't take long for the fans to start turning on him. In fact, they even chanted, "Die, Rocky, die," which made him question whether he had made the right decision to become a wrestler. Once on the Grilling Jr. podcast, former WWE commentator Jim Ross revealed why the fans turned on The Rock during his babyface run. He said it wasn't Johnson's fault at all. The Rock simply needed more time to climb up the ranks and establish himself. Ross pointed out that it might have been a little too much too soon. He thought that's what turned people against Rock. Dwayne didn't do anything character-wise. He didn't change his personality, but he was a rookie grandkid. It seems that jealousy played a role, especially among the coveted 18 to 49-year-old male demographic. They found it hard to digest someone new rising to the top so quickly. In hindsight, Ross isn't entirely convinced that it was the best move to have The Rock win certain matches during that time. Despite his undeniable charisma and talent, his babyface run eventually took a backseat to wrestling legends like Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Shawn Michaels. But it's not like he was faultless. There was also his performance in WWE that made many viewers mad. When The Rock made his grand entrance at Raw 1000 and declared himself the challenger for Punk's championship at Royal Rumble, it felt like a seismic shift in WWE storytelling. You see, in the world of wrestling, earning a title shot is a big deal. Dolph Ziggler and Cena had to survive grueling Money in the Bank ladder matches. Jack Swagger went through the Elimination Chamber. And let's not forget how John Cena outlasted 29 other warriors in the Royal Rumble Battle Royal. It's all about proving yourself, right? But then, The Rock swoops in and gets a shot just because he wants one? I mean, where's the justice in that? Shouldn't there be some sort of past champion provisionals like they have in NASCAR? At least if they said that, even if it sounds a bit dumb, it'd give the fans of the sport some semblance of the reasoning behind Rocky just waltzing into the title hunt. And to make matters worse, he lost that match he never even earned. The Rock was handed his shot on a silver platter, and then he was handed the title. Besides, even though The Rock started out in wrestling, he hardly ever shows up at those events these days. I get it. He's a busy guy with his acting career and all, but not even making time to visit the place that kickstarted his fame seems a bit rude. It's been ages since we've seen The Rock in the ring, and while those video clips they play of him during the events are always funny and entertaining, it doesn't really give off the vibe that he's appreciative of his wrestling roots. It's like he thinks he's too cool to make an appearance, which obviously pisses off many people. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of ways to keep his larger-than-life persona entertaining, even if he can't physically be there. But it would have been nice if he'd made a bit more effort to acknowledge his past career and how it shaped him into the megastar he is today. It's all about showing some love and gratitude, right? Never forget where you came from, no matter how far you've climbed the ladder of success. So there you have it, from not showing up at any WWE events to going a little overboard with his social media presence. That's why people hate Dwayne Johnson.